When I opened the Bible and the note slipped to the floor, the world paused. I picked it up, and with it, my husband's secret. The kind that rewrites the rest of a life. For that secret, he slipped drugs into my days. And threats into our son's nights. Our daughter stopped coming home. The paper was yellow, brittle. Like trust at the moment it breaks. 50 years of marriage reduced to faded ink and filed away lies. I should have burned it. I chose truth instead. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. My name is Eileen. I am 72 years old. I live in a house that gleams. The marble floors catch morning light. They throw it back like mirrors. My footsteps echo in rooms too large for 2 people. But Donald built this place for grandchildren. For Christmas mornings. For the family we made together. The chandelier above the dining table cost more than most people's cars. Crystal drops hang like frozen tears. They catch light and scatter rainbows across cream-colored walls. I dust them every Tuesday. Each piece matters. Each piece shines. Donald gave me everything. That's what people say when they visit. They walk through our foyer with wide eyes. They touch the silk curtains. They admire the oil paintings. They tell me how lucky I am. Lucky. Yes, I suppose I am lucky. My kitchen has granite countertops. The refrigerator is stainless steel. It hums like a quiet prayer. Inside, it holds fresh flowers I arrange every morning. White roses from the garden. Baby's breath from the florist downtown. I make coffee in a machine that cost $800. Donald bought it for my birthday. He said I deserved the best. The coffee tastes bitter sometimes. But I drink it anyway. I stand by the window. I watch birds at the feeder. Cardinals come first. Then blue jays. Then sparrows in small crowds. They fight over seeds. They push each other away. Even birds know scarcity. Even in abundance. Kevin calls every Sunday. My oldest son. He prosecutes bad people. He puts them in jail. His voice sounds tired sometimes. But he always asks about my health. About Donald. About whether I need anything. I never need anything. That's what I tell him. We have everything. Lisa visits twice a month. My daughter. She brings her children. Twin boys with Donald's eyes. They run through the house like wild things. They slide on the marble floors in their socks. I pretend to scold them. But I love the sound. The house needs noise. Lisa always apologizes for the mess they make. She follows behind them with paper towels. She wipes fingerprints from glass tables. I tell her to stop. I tell her the house is for living. But she cleans anyway. She learned that from me. Donald Matthews built his company from nothing. That's the story everyone knows. He worked 18-hour days. He slept in his office. He drew blueprints until his fingers cramped. Then one day, everything changed. Patents came through. Money flowed like water. We moved from our small house to this palace. The old house had creaking floors. A furnace that rattled in winter. A kitchen window that stuck when it rained. But it was ours. We painted every room ourselves. We planted the garden together. We were happy there. This house doesn't creak. The floors are solid. The heating system runs silent. Windows open with a touch. Everything works perfectly. Nothing needs fixing. Sometimes I miss things that need fixing. I keep the family Bible in the living room. It sits on a mahogany table. The leather cover is cracked with age. Pages yellow at the edges. My grandmother's handwriting fills the margins. Birth dates. Death dates. Marriage records. Our family lives in those pages. Today I decide to organize my prayer cards. Small tokens from church services, funeral programs, wedding invitations. I collect them in a wooden box. But they overflow now. They need sorting. I open the Bible to find space for new bookmarks. The spine creaks like old bones. Pages whisper against my fingers. They smell of vanilla and dust. Time has a smell. Memory has weight. I turn past Genesis, past Exodus, past the Psalms my grandmother marked in pencil. Her favorite verses still shine faintly. Faith looks different on aged paper. Softer, more certain. A piece of paper falls onto my lap. Yellow and brittle, not part of the Bible. Something hidden between pages, something forgotten. My hands shake as I unfold it. The paper feels fragile, like it might crumble, like it might disappear if I breathe too hard. Words written in faded ink. Black letters on yellow paper. A message in Donald's handwriting. I know his writing. I've seen it on birthday cards. Anniversary notes. Love letters from long ago. 1997, C3014, contract fulfilled, 30%. The ark has sailed the covenant unseen. I read it once, twice, 3 times. The words don't change. They don't make sense. But they feel important, heavy, like secrets always feel. 1997. The year everything changed. The year Donald quit his job without warning. The year he started his company. The year money began flowing. The year we moved here. The year our lives transformed. 30%. Of what? Of stolen time? Of borrowed dreams? Of something that doesn't belong to us? My chest tightens. My breathing becomes shallow. The paper trembles in my hands. Not from age now. From fear. From recognition. From knowing without understanding. The ark has sailed. Like Noah's ark. Like salvation. Like escape. But escape from what? From whom? From consequences that follow? From truth that waits? The covenant unseen. Like promises made in darkness. Like deals struck in shadows. Like agreements no one else knows about. Secret handshakes. Hidden contracts. Lies dressed as gifts. I fold the paper carefully. My fingers remember how to keep secrets. How to hide things. How to protect what shouldn't be protected. I slip it into my cardigan pocket. Against my heart. Where it burns like a small fire. I close the Bible. The pages settle like settling thoughts. The leather cover feels warm under my palm. This book has held our family together. Births and deaths. Weddings and funerals. Truth and now this. Whatever this is. My heart pounds in my chest. Each beat asks questions. Each beat demands answers. What did Donald do? What price did we pay? What debt do we still owe? The chandelier above me sparkles. Light dances across crystal. Beauty built on what foundation? Love built on what lies? Family built on what broken promises? I sit in silence. The house breathes around me. Expensive air conditioning whispers. The refrigerator hums its quiet song. Everything perfect. Everything clean. Everything wrong. Outside, birds still fight at the feeder. They don't know about secrets. They don't know about guilt. They take what they need. They fly away clean. I touch the paper in my pocket. It feels like fire now. Like shame. Like truth I don't want to know. But truth doesn't ask permission. Truth doesn't wait for welcome. Truth just waits. And now it has found me. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The paper lives in my pocket now. 3 days. 3 sleepless nights. I carry it everywhere. to the kitchen, to the garden, to bed. It rustles when I move. A whisper against cotton. A reminder of what I know, what I suspect, what I fear most. Donald doesn't notice. He reads his newspaper at breakfast. He folds it perfectly, creases sharp as knife blades. He drinks coffee from the expensive machine. He talks about stock prices, weather forecasts, normal things. I watch his hands, the same hands that wrote those words. The ark has sailed. What ark? What covenant? What did he steal from whom? His fingers are steady on the coffee cup. No tremor, no guilt, no recognition that his wife knows something, that his world might crumble, that 50 years of marriage might be built on lies. The engineering firm, Hartwell Industries, that's where he worked before. 23 years of loyal service. Then suddenly, overnight, gone. I remember that day, March 15th, a Tuesday. He came home early. His face was strange, excited but frightened, like a child who'd broken something valuable. He told me he'd resigned. No explanation, no warning, just decided to start fresh, to build something of his own. I supported him. Wives do that. We believe in our husbands. We trust their dreams. Within months, the patents came through. Designs for circuit boards, processing units, technology I didn't understand, but the money was real. The checks were real. The life that followed was real. Now I wonder what else was real. What else was stolen? What else was taken from someone who trusted? Someone who disappeared. Someone who never got credit for their own mind. I make his lunch every day. Ham sandwiches, mustard on rye bread, apple slices, cookies from the bakery downtown. He takes it to his office in a brown bag. Like a schoolboy, like he's innocent. But innocence doesn't hide messages in Bibles. Innocence doesn't need covenants. Innocence doesn't sail away from consequences. I fold his napkin carefully. I wrap his sandwich in wax paper. I pretend everything is normal. But my hands shake. My heart races. My mind circles like a trapped bird. The house feels different now. Every room holds questions. The dining room where we celebrated his first patent. The study where he worked on blueprints. The bedroom where we planned our future. Were those blueprints stolen? Were those patents lies? Was our future built on someone else's broken dreams? I walk through rooms that used to comfort me. Now they accuse. The silk curtains whisper secrets. The marble floors echo with guilt. The crystal chandelier throws light on shadows I never saw. Kevin calls Sunday evening. His voice sounds tired. Cases pile up at the prosecutor's office. Bad people do bad things. He puts them away. He protects innocent people from harm. What would Kevin say if he knew? If he discovered his father was one of the bad people? If the house he grew up visiting was built on theft? If the college money that paid for law school came from stolen dreams? I hold the phone with both hands. My son's voice fills my ear. He talks about his cases, his children, his wife's garden, normal family things, safe things, things that don't involve secrets hidden in Bibles. I want to tell him. The words form in my throat. But I swallow them. Some truths are too heavy for Sunday phone calls. Some secrets need time to breathe. Lisa comes for dinner Thursday night. She brings the twins. They're 7 now, old enough to remember these visits. Old enough to love their grandfather's stories. Old enough to be proud of his success. They sit at the dining table under the crystal chandelier. Light dances on their faces. Innocent faces. Trusting faces. Faces that believe in family. in hard work, in honest rewards. Donald tells them about building the company, how he started with nothing, how determination pays off, how dreams come true if you work hard enough. The twins listen with wide eyes. They believe every word. They see their grandfather as a hero, a self-made man, an example to follow. I serve roast beef and potatoes. I pour milk into glasses. I smile at the right moments. But the paper burns in my pocket. Truth burns against my ribs. Lies taste bitter in my mouth. After dinner, the twins play in the living room. They build towers with blocks. They knock them down and laugh. Creation and destruction, game and reality. They don't know the difference yet. Lisa helps me clear dishes. She stacks plates carefully. She wipes the table clean. She tells me how grateful she is for this house, for Dad's success, for the security it gives her children. I nod. I smile. I say the right things. But inside I'm breaking. Every grateful word feels like glass. Every proud moment cuts deeper. What happens to gratitude built on lies? What happens to security bought with stolen dreams? What happens to a family when the foundation cracks? Later that night, Donald reads in his study. The same room where he drew blueprints. Where he planned patents. Where he built our empire. I stand in the doorway. I watch him. His reading glasses reflect lamplight. His face looks peaceful, content, like a man who's earned his rest. Like a man with no regrets. No guilty conscience. No hidden shame. But the paper in my pocket tells a different story. Numbers and codes. Contracts and percentages. The vocabulary of theft dressed in business terms. I go to bed early. I lie in darkness. I listen to Donald brush his teeth, wash his face, perform the rituals of an honest man preparing for innocent sleep. The paper crinkles when I turn over. Even in darkness, it speaks. It whispers questions I can't answer. Accusations I can't ignore. Truths I don't want to face. Dawn comes slowly. Light creeps through curtains. Another day begins. Another day of carrying secrets. Another day of pretending. Another day of choosing between truth and family. I make coffee. I set the table. I perform the rituals of a good wife. But everything has changed. Every action feels false. Every smile feels painted on. The paper stays in my pocket. Close to my heart. Close to my breaking point. Close to decisions I'm not ready to make. But decisions don't wait for readiness. Truth doesn't ask permission. Justice doesn't care about comfort. And somewhere in this perfect house, in this perfect life, something has to give. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Sleep becomes my enemy. Night after night, the paper burns in my pocket even in darkness. Even when I finally surrender to exhaustion. Dreams come in fragments. Pieces of guilt. Shards of truth. Images that make no sense but feel real. More real than the silk sheets. More real than Donald's steady breathing beside me. I dream of engineers at drawing boards. Bent over blueprints. Pencils worn to stubs. Eyes strained from tiny details. Men who create. Men who build. Men whose ideas get stolen. I dream of empty offices. Cleared desks. Missing files. Someone's life work vanishing overnight. Like it never existed. Like it never mattered. Like theft can erase genius. The paper crinkles when I toss and turn. It whispers accusations in my sleep. It shows me faces of people I've never met. People whose dreams built our house. People whose minds paid for our comfort. Donald sleeps peacefully. No dreams trouble him. No guilt wakes him. No conscience whispers warnings in the dark. He breathes deep and even. Like innocent men do. Like men with nothing to hide. But I know different now. I carry his secret. I wear his crime against my heart. I sleep beside a thief and pretend not to know. Tuesday night becomes Wednesday morning. 3:15 on the bedside clock. Numbers glowing green in darkness. I've been awake for hours. Watching shadows move across the ceiling. Listening to the house settle. Feeling time pass like cold water. The paper in my nightgown pocket weighs more than paper should. It pulls at the fabric. It pulls at my heart. It pulls truth from hiding places where truth was never meant to live. I close my eyes. I try to find peace. Sleep comes finally. Restless. Troubled. Full of words I can't control. Somewhere in the deepest part of night, I speak. Words rise from dreams. From guilt. From secrets too heavy to carry silent. The Ark. The Covenant. Words spill from my sleeping mouth. Evidence escapes in whispers. Truth leaks through dreams I can't remember. Donald hears. He always was a light sleeper. Engineers train their minds to catch details. To notice changes. To spot problems before they grow. My words pierce his sleep like alarms. Like warnings. Like accusations spoken in darkness when guards are down. The Ark has sailed. That's what I say. That's what my sleeping voice reveals. The covenant unseen. Words from his hidden note. Words no one else should know. He wakes fully. Instantly. His breathing changes. His body tenses. 50 years of marriage teaches you to read signs. To know when something shifts. To recognize danger. I sleep on. Unaware. Innocent of what I've revealed. But damage spreads like water. Like blood. Like truth that can't be contained. Morning comes too soon. Coffee tastes bitter. Toast sits untouched. The kitchen feels smaller. Walls press closer. Air becomes thick with unspoken knowledge. Donald reads his newspaper. Pages rustle. Coffee cup clinks against saucer. Normal sounds that feel dangerous now. Like everything might shatter if moved wrong. He watches me over the business section. Eyes that used to hold love now hold calculation. The mind that built an empire now plots protection. The hands that held me now plan deception. I tend my flowers after breakfast. White roses by the garden gate. Baby's breath along the fence. My hands know this work. They've done it for decades. But today they shake. Today nothing feels certain. The sun warms my shoulders. Bees hum in lavender bushes. Life continues its ancient patterns. Growth and bloom and death and renewal. But I feel separate from it now. Like watching through glass. Like beauty belongs to other people. Inside the house, Donald moves with purpose. He searches quietly, methodically, room by room, drawer by drawer, looking for what he knows I've found. The Bible sits where I left it. Mahogany table in the living room. Leather cover worn smooth by generations of hands. Pages that hold our family history. And gaps where secrets once hid. He turns every page. Genesis to Revelation. Psalms to Proverbs. Looking for yellow paper. Looking for proof of what I know. Looking for evidence of his crime. The slip is gone. Safe in my pocket. Safe against my heart. Safe where thieves can't steal it back. But Donald's mind works differently now. Not like a husband. Like a man protecting assets. Like someone calculating risk. Like a criminal caught between truth and consequences. He can't demand the paper. Can't ask direct questions. Can't reveal he knows I know. That would confirm everything. That would make denial impossible. That would end the game of innocence. Instead, he begins something else. Something darker. Something that turns my stomach when I realize what's happening. If he can't silence the evidence, he'll silence the witness. If he can't destroy the truth, he'll destroy my credibility. If people think I'm losing my mind, they won't believe my accusations. It starts small, subtle, things I might not notice if I wasn't watching. If I wasn't already suspicious. If I wasn't carrying proof in my pocket. My phone rings Wednesday afternoon. Lisa's voice sounds confused. She asks about dinner invitations I never sent. Messages about Sunday gathering I never planned. Confusion in her voice. Worry creeping in. I tell her I never called. Never made plans. Never sent invitations. But doubt plants itself. In her mind. In mine. Seeds of questions about memory. About aging. About minds that slip without warning. Thursday brings more confusion. Kevin calls about lunch arrangements I didn't make. Doctor appointments I never scheduled. Conversations I don't remember having. My son's voice holds concern now. Gentle questions about my health. Careful words about memory. Suggestions about checkups. About tests. About professional help. The thermostat betrays me Friday morning. House temperature drops to 50 degrees. I wake shivering. Confused. Donald finds me adjusting controls I'm certain I never touched. He wraps me in blankets. Makes hot tea. Speaks in soothing tones about absent-mindedness. About aging. About things that happen to people our age. His voice holds perfect concern. Perfect manipulation. My blood pressure medication disappears Saturday. Pills I take every morning. Gone from the bathroom counter. Donald finds them in the refrigerator. Next to milk. Next to eggs. Places I would never put them. But I didn't put them there. I know I didn't. My hands remember their morning routine. Counter to sink to mouth. Same pattern for years. Same careful ritual. Yet there they are. Cold and damp from refrigerator air. Evidence of confusion I don't remember. Proof of mistakes I didn't make. Sunday comes with Kevin's regular call. His voice sounds different. Careful. Like speaking to someone fragile. Someone who might break if handled wrong. He asks about my medications. About doctor visits. About whether I'm sleeping well. Questions wrapped in love but edged with worry. With fear. With growing certainty that something's wrong. I want to tell him about the paper. About Donald's secret. About crimes hidden in Bibles. But how can I, when pills appear in refrigerators? When phone calls get made by someone else's hands? When my own family doubts my mind? Lisa visits Monday evening. She brings casseroles. Prepared meals for people who can't cook safely. Food for the confused. For the forgetful. For wives who might hurt themselves. She checks the stove burners. Tests door locks. Looks for signs of danger. Signs of decline. Signs that her mother can't be trusted alone. Her concern feels like acid. Like love turned poisonous. Like protection that destroys what it tries to save. I watch her worry. I see fear in her eyes. Fear that her mother is disappearing. Piece by piece. Memory by memory. Truth by truth. But I'm not disappearing. I'm being erased. By hands I've trusted for 50 years. By a man who built his empire on stolen dreams. By someone who will destroy anything to protect his lie. The paper still burns in my pocket. Real as truth. Real as crime. Real as love turned into weapon. But reality feels thin now. Like tissue paper. Like something that tears if touched wrong. When your own family doubts your mind, truth becomes fragile. Evidence becomes questionable. Proof becomes just another delusion. I sit in my perfect house, in my perfect life, while my perfect husband destroys me. One small lie at a time. One missing pill at a time. One confused phone call at a time. He smiles across the dinner table, cuts his meat with steady hands, speaks in loving tones about my health, about getting help, about professional care for people whose minds betray them. But I know the truth. I carry the proof. I feel the weight of his crime against my ribs. The question isn't whether I'm losing my mind. The question is whether anyone will believe me when I'm ready to speak. And time is running out. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The family meeting happens on a Tuesday. I know because I mark days on my calendar. I still know what day it is. I still remember my name. I still understand when I'm being destroyed. Kevin arrives first. His prosecutor's face looks tired, worried. He carries manila folders, legal papers, documents that will decide my fate. My son has become my judge. Lisa comes with her husband. They hold hands like people at funerals, like mourners preparing for loss. Their faces say everything. Their mother is disappearing. Their mother needs help. Donald plays his part perfectly. Concerned husband, loving father, man who's tried everything to help his failing wife. His voice breaks at the right moments. His eyes show appropriate pain. They gather in the living room, under the crystal chandelier, where family pictures smile from silver frames, where normal families make normal decisions. But nothing about this is normal. Kevin speaks first. His voice is gentle but firm. The voice he uses with victims, with people who need protection from themselves, with people who can't understand consequences. He's researched memory care facilities, spoken to doctors, gathered opinions about cognitive decline, about safety, about what happens when minds betray bodies, when wives become dangers to themselves. Lisa adds her observations: missing medications, strange phone calls, confusion about plans, evidence that piles up like stones. Each incident another reason why I can't be trusted, can't be left alone, can't be believed. I sit in my favorite chair, the one where I read morning devotions, where I said prayers for my family, where I planned meals and holidays and dreams. Now I sit like a defendant, like someone on trial for losing her mind. The paper burns in my sweater pocket. Evidence they can't see, truth they won't believe, proof of crimes that created this very room, this very meeting, this very betrayal. I want to speak, to show them what I've found, to explain why Donald wants me silenced. But my own children have already decided. Their mother is sick. Their mother needs help. Their mother can't tell truth from delusion. Donald suggests Riverside Medical Center, the best facility in the county. Doctors who specialize in memory disorders. Staff trained in compassionate care. A place where confused elderly people get proper treatment. Kevin nods approvingly. He's done research. Riverside has excellent reputation. 5-star rating. Accreditation from national boards. The kind of place prosecutors recommend for vulnerable people. Lisa wipes tears from her eyes. This isn't what she wanted. But safety comes first. Love sometimes means making hard choices. Sometimes means protecting people from themselves. The appointment is scheduled for Thursday morning. Complete evaluation, memory tests, cognitive assessments, brain scans if necessary, modern medicine to diagnose what's wrong with Eileen. They leave with hugs and kisses. Promises to visit often. Assurances that this is temporary. Just until doctors figure out what's happening. Just until treatments can help. Just until their mother gets better. But I know better. This isn't about getting well. This isn't about memory loss. This is about silencing witnesses. About destroying credibility. About making sure certain truths stay buried. Donald drives me to Riverside Thursday morning. His hands steady on the steering wheel. His voice full of concern for his poor wife. His performance worthy of awards. The medical center gleams like our house. Marble floors. Fresh flowers. Everything clean and expensive and perfect. The kind of place that inspires confidence. The kind of place that hides secrets well. Dr. Morrison greets us in his office. Gray hair, kind eyes, diplomas covering the walls. A man who's dedicated his life to helping confused elderly patients. Or so it appears. He speaks to Donald first. About symptoms, about incidents, about behavior changes that concern the family. I sit beside them like furniture. Like someone who can't speak for herself. The examination takes 3 hours. Memory tests, word puzzles, simple math problems, questions about dates and names and places. Tests designed to reveal cognitive decline. I answer everything correctly. Every date, every name, every calculation. My mind works perfectly, sharp as ever, clear as truth itself. But something's wrong with the results. Dr. Morrison frowns at his notes. Checks his charts twice. Calls in a colleague for consultation. Whispered conversations in medical terms. Finally, he delivers the verdict. Early stage dementia. Mild cognitive impairment. Progressive condition that will worsen over time. Medications might slow the decline. But deterioration is inevitable. I stare at him. This man in his white coat. This professional liar. This person who's supposed to heal but instead destroys. The diagnosis makes no sense. My answers were perfect. My memory intact. My thinking clear. But somehow I have a disease I don't have. Somehow tests lie. Somehow truth gets rewritten in medical charts. Donald nods gravely. Asks about treatment options. About care facilities. About what happens next. His performance continues. Devoted husband facing difficult reality. Dr. Morrison recommends immediate treatment. Specialized medications. Careful monitoring. The kind of care only trained professionals can provide. The kind of care that costs fortunes. He suggests Riverside's residential program. 24-hour supervision. Medical staff on duty. Activities designed for memory patients. A safe environment for people whose minds can't be trusted. The paperwork appears quickly. Forms already prepared. Admission documents ready for signatures. Everything arranged in advance. Like they knew the diagnosis before I arrived. Donald's signature looks practiced. Like he's signed these forms before. Like this moment was planned long ago. Like my fate was decided in rooms I've never seen. I'm assigned to room 314. 3rd floor. Memory care unit. Where confused elderly people spend their final years. Where families visit out of duty. Where truth goes to die. The room has cream-colored walls. A single bed with safety rails. A window that doesn't open. Everything designed for people who can't be trusted. Who might hurt themselves. Who might wander away. My clothes arrive in labeled bags. Medications appear in locked dispensers. Meal schedules get posted on bulletin boards. Life becomes routine. Controlled. Supervised. Safe. The nurses speak slowly. Use simple words. Treat me like a child who might not understand. They smile with practiced kindness. Professional compassion. Trained sympathy for the mentally declining. But I understand everything. Remember everything. See through everything. The pills they give me 3 times daily. The foggy feeling that follows. The way thoughts become cotton. Memory becomes mist. These aren't medications for dementia. These are drugs for control. For quieting. For making inconvenient truths disappear into chemical fog. For turning witnesses into victims. Dr. Morrison visits twice weekly. Asks the same questions. Checks the same charts. Adjusts medications that don't need adjusting. Keeps records that tell lies about minds that work perfectly. Kevin comes Sundays. Brings flowers and worried looks. He speaks carefully. Watches for signs of recognition. Tests whether his mother remembers his name. His job. His children. I remember everything. But the drugs make words hard. Make thoughts slow. Make truth feel distant. Like speaking through water. Like thinking through mud. Like being buried alive in my own mind. Lisa visits Wednesdays. She brings photo albums. Pictures of grandchildren. Reminders of family history. Things to help stimulate failing memory. Things to keep connections alive. The photos hurt worse than the drugs. Faces I love looking at me with pity. With sadness. With growing acceptance that their mother is disappearing. That the woman who raised them is becoming empty shell. But I'm not disappearing. I'm being erased. One pill at a time. One false diagnosis at a time. One medical lie at a time. The paper stays hidden in my nightgown. Folded small. Pressed against my heart. The only proof of truth in a world of lies. The only evidence that I'm not crazy. Not confused. Not sick. Just inconvenient. Just dangerous. Just someone who knows too much about stolen dreams and hidden crimes. Someone who must be silenced before truth escapes. At night, when the drugs wear thin, I think clearly. I remember everything. I plan. I wait. I watch for opportunities that might never come. Because somewhere beyond these walls, Donald sleeps peacefully. In our stolen house. On our stolen life. Protected by medical lies and chemical silence. But truth has a way of surviving. Even in locked rooms. Even under medication. Even when everyone believes you're crazy. The paper still burns against my heart. Still whispers accusations in the dark. Still holds power to destroy empires built on theft. I just have to stay alive long enough to use it. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. 3 weeks pass like fog. White fog that rolls through my mind. Chemical fog that makes thoughts heavy. Artificial fog that turns clear days into confusion. But I learn the patterns. Nurses change shifts at 7. Medication rounds at 9. Doctor visits at 11. Lunch at noon. Everyone has schedules. Everyone follows rules. Everyone can be predicted. The pills come in small paper cups. White tablets. Blue capsules. Pink ovals. A rainbow of control served with apple juice. With encouraging smiles. With gentle words about getting better. I palm them carefully. Quick movements learned in childhood. Magic tricks from birthday parties. Sleight of hand that hides truth from watching eyes. The pills disappear into my palm. Down my sleeve. Into tissue boxes when no one looks. The fog lifts slowly. Thoughts become sharper. Memory clears like windows after rain. I remember why I'm here. What I carry. What I must do before time runs out. Nurse Patricia works weekend shifts. She's young. Tired. distracted by her own problems. Her boyfriend troubles, her student loans, her real life beyond these walls. She counts pills without counting, checks boxes without checking, follows routines without thinking. The kind of person who makes mistakes, who creates opportunities, who might not notice missing medications. I hide pills in my pillowcase, between mattress and frame, in the lining of my winter coat. Small victories that add up, small freedoms that compound, small rebellions that keep truth alive. My roommate Sarah sleeps most days. The drugs work better on her. Or maybe she wants them to work. Maybe forgetting is easier than remembering. Maybe fog is kinder than clarity. She talks in her sleep sometimes. About children who never visit. About husbands long dead. About houses sold to pay for places like this. Her dreams leak out like confessions. Like warnings. Like prophecies of what happens when families forget. Kevin's visits become predictable. Every Sunday at 2 o'clock. He brings flowers. Magazines I can't focus on. Guilt wrapped in good intentions. Love mixed with duty and growing sadness. He sits in the green vinyl chair beside my bed. He talks about weather. About work. About safe topics that won't upset confused elderly mothers. His voice holds careful cheerfulness. Professional kindness. The tone reserved for broken things. I watch him closely. My prosecutor son. The one who puts criminals in jail. The one who seeks truth for living. The one who might believe me if I can reach him. If I can break through fog long enough to speak clearly. But the drugs make words clumsy. Make thoughts scattered. Make truth sound like rambling. Even when I skip medications. Even when my mind sharpens. The chemical residue lingers. The damage accumulates. Lisa visits Wednesdays with photo albums. Pictures of grandchildren growing up without me. Halloween costumes. School plays. Birthday parties where I'm the ghost at the table. The memory they're trying to preserve. She speaks slowly. Uses simple words. Points to faces I know better than my own. She tests whether her mother remembers names. Dates. Connections. Whether love survives when minds allegedly fail. But I remember everything. Every birthday. Every scraped knee. Every bedtime story. Every moment of raising children who now watch me disappear. Who participate in my erasure. Who love me enough to destroy me. The paper stays folded against my heart. Hidden in the seam of my nightgown. Where searching hands don't find it. Where truth waits for its moment. Where evidence survives attempts at burial. 4 weeks become 5. 5 become 6. The seasons change outside my window. Fall arrives with red leaves. With shorter days. With reminders that time passes whether we're ready or not. I practice walking without shuffling. Speaking without slurring. Thinking without the fog that's supposed to cloud my mind. I exercise my rebellion in small ways. Secret ways. Dangerous ways. Dr. Morrison increases my dosage. Claims I'm becoming agitated. Showing signs of resistance. Displaying behaviors that indicate progression of disease. More lies written in official charts. More reasons to increase control. But I've learned to act confused when he visits. To stumble over simple questions. To appear exactly as sick as he needs me to be. Performance becomes survival. Deception becomes truth-telling. Playing crazy keeps sanity alive. October brings unexpected opportunity. Kevin's visit happens on a Tuesday instead of Sunday. His voice sounds different. Strained. Like cases at work are weighing heavy. Like truth is becoming harder to find. He sits in the green chair but doesn't settle. His body holds tension. His eyes look tired. His hands move restlessly. Something about his prosecutor's world is bothering him. Some case that won't resolve cleanly. I've skipped medications for 3 days. Hidden pills in places Patricia won't look. My mind feels clearer than it has in weeks. Sharp enough to take chances. Clear enough to risk everything. Kevin talks about work without really talking. About cases that make him question things. About evidence that doesn't add up. About people who lie so well they almost believe themselves. His words create opening. Small gap in his professional armor. Tiny crack where truth might enter. Where a mother's voice might reach a son who seeks justice. I wait for the right moment. When Patricia checks other patients. When Sarah sleeps deepest. When afternoon light slants through windows and makes everything feel possible. My hand finds the paper. Fingers remember how to unfold secrets. How to reveal truth. How to pass evidence from victim to prosecutor. From mother to son. From past to future. Kevin sees the movement. His prosecutor's eyes notice details. Changes. Things that don't fit patterns. His training kicks in even here. Even with his allegedly failing mother. I press the paper into his palm. Yellowed evidence. Faded proof. Truth worn thin by time and hiding but still readable. Still powerful. Still capable of destroying empires built on theft. His fingers close around it automatically. Then open. Then close again. Confusion crosses his face. Questions form in his eyes. The prosecutor meets evidence he wasn't expecting. Words come slowly. Carefully. Like walking on ice that might crack. Like speaking in a language he needs to remember. Like reaching across fog to touch solid ground. I tell him about the Bible. About finding the paper. About 1997 and Donald's sudden success. About stolen patents and hidden crimes. About truth buried in scripture. About wives who know too much. My voice sounds stronger than it has in weeks. Clearer than medications should allow. More certain than confused minds can manage. Kevin's training recognizes the difference. His instincts respond to authentic testimony. But doubt creeps in. This is his mother. This is a memory care facility. This is a woman diagnosed with dementia making wild accusations. Against his father. Against the family foundation. Against everything he's believed for years. The paper sits in his palm like evidence. Like proof. Like truth that demands investigation. His prosecutor's mind wars with his son's heart. Professional instincts fight family loyalty. Truth battles comfort. He reads the words carefully. Studies the handwriting. Examines the dates. His eyes narrow with recognition. With growing suspicion. With the look prosecutors get when pieces start fitting together. The room fills with dangerous silence. With possibility. With truth that changes everything. With evidence that could destroy families. Could send fathers to prison. Could reveal that successful men sometimes steal dreams from others. Kevin folds the paper carefully. Slips it into his jacket pocket. His movement is careful. Professional. Like handling evidence in criminal cases. Like protecting proof that might matter in court. But he says nothing about believing me. Nothing about investigation. Nothing about what happens next. He kisses my forehead. Promises to visit soon. Leaves like a son visiting his confused mother. Except his eyes look different now. Sharper. More focused. Like prosecutor's eyes seeing crime. Like son's eyes seeing father clearly. Like truth finally finding someone willing to listen. I lie back against institutional pillows, heart pounding from effort, from hope, from fear of what I've started, what I've set in motion, what truth might cost us all. The paper is gone, passed from victim to prosecutor, from mother to son, from past to future. Whatever happens now is out of my hands. In younger hands, stronger hands, hands that know how to seek justice. But justice has a price, and families pay it. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Kevin doesn't visit for 2 weeks. The longest absence since I've been here. His empty chair stares at me Sunday afternoons. Green vinyl holding questions, holding doubt, holding the weight of what I've asked him to carry. I know he's investigating, reading files, checking records, following paper trails that lead back to 1997, back to stolen patents, back to crimes hidden in success stories, back to fathers who aren't what sons believed. The knowledge sits in my chest like a stone. Heavy, cold, necessary. I've set something in motion that can't be stopped. Can't be undone. Can't be taken back even if we wanted to. Lisa visits Wednesday as always. She brings new photos, fresh flowers, worried looks that pierce deeper than usual. Her voice holds questions she doesn't ask. Concerns she can't name. Changes in family atmosphere she doesn't understand. She mentions Kevin working late, staying at the office past midnight, bringing files home, acting distracted during family dinners. She asks if I know what case is bothering him. What's making her brother lose sleep? I shake my head, play confused, act like medications make everything fuzzy. But inside I know exactly what's keeping Kevin awake. What files he's reading. What truth he's uncovering. What family foundation he's examining for cracks. 3 weeks pass before he returns. His face looks older. Lines deeper around his eyes. Gray threading through hair that was brown before truth found him. Before evidence changed everything. Before sons learned father's lie. He sits in the green chair but doesn't relax. His body holds tension like a loaded spring. His hands move restlessly. His eyes avoid mine. This is what truth costs. What justice demands. What family secrets do to people who uncover them. Kevin speaks carefully. About weather. About work in general terms. About safe topics that skirt around dangerous knowledge. But his voice carries weight. Burden. The gravity of decisions he's trying not to make. I wait. Patience learned in 72 years of life. In decades of marriage to complicated men. In months of hiding truth. In weeks of watching family members choose comfort over reality. In days of understanding that some moments can't be rushed. Finally, quietly, he acknowledges what he's found. Archives that confirm my story. Patent records that match the paper. Dates that align with Donald's sudden success. Evidence that turns family history into crime story. His voice cracks when he tells me about the missing engineer. Thomas Brennan, brilliant mind who disappeared from Hartwell Industries the same week Donald resigned. Man whose designs became Donald's patents. Whose genius built our marble palace. Whose theft funded our comfortable lies. Kevin found Thomas's family. Widow still alive. Children grown with children of their own. People who lost everything when patents got stolen. When dreams got claimed by someone else. When justice failed to protect innovation from theft. The investigation consumed him. Nights in archives. Days tracking paper trails. Weeks reconstructing crimes committed decades ago. Truth hidden in corporate files. Evidence buried in legal documents. Proof that fathers sometimes destroy other families to build their own. But Donald noticed. Successful thieves learn to watch for danger, to spot investigation, to recognize when past crimes surface, to protect empire from inconvenient truth. Kevin describes the confrontation. Father and son in Donald's study. The same room where stolen blueprints became family fortune. Where patents were filed. Where crimes were planned. Where lies were polished into success stories. Donald didn't deny anything. Didn't claim innocence. Didn't pretend confusion about accusations. Instead he calculated, weighed options, decided how to handle this new threat to comfortable life. He reminded Kevin about career advancement, about family reputation, about children who benefit from grandfather's success, about mortgages and college funds and comfortable futures built on foundation that can't be examined too closely. The threat came wrapped in paternal concern. Gentle reminder that prosecutors who attack their own families don't advance, don't get promoted, don't get prestigious assignments, don't protect their children's futures, don't survive career suicide. Kevin left that meeting shaking. Not from fear for himself. From recognition of what his father had become. What success had cost. What lies had built. What family meant when foundation cracked. For days he wavered. Called in sick to work. Avoided files that held evidence. Pretended he could unknow what he knew. Pretend family mattered more than justice. Pretend comfortable lies were better than inconvenient truth. But truth has weight. Evidence has gravity. Justice has momentum that can't be stopped once started. Kevin returned to investigation. Returned to files. Returned to duty that transcends family comfort. That demands sacrifice. That costs everything it touches. He tells me about sleepless nights. About staring at ceiling while wife sleeps peacefully. About watching children play games while knowing their grandfather is criminal. About carrying truth that poisoned innocence. That changed everything forever. The prosecutor in him knows what must be done. Evidence demands action. Victims deserve justice. Laws exist for reason. Truth can't stay buried because it's inconvenient. Because it hurts families. Because it destroys comfortable illusions. But the son in him remembers different man. Father who attended school plays. Who taught him to throw baseball. Who paid for college. Who seemed proud of prosecutor son. Who built empire that provided security for everyone Kevin loved. The conflict tears at him. Duty versus family. Justice versus comfort. Truth versus peace. Professional obligation versus personal loyalty. Right versus easy. Future versus past. His voice breaks when he describes visiting Thomas Brennan's widow. Elderly woman in small apartment. Living on Social Security. Surviving on scraps while Donald lives in marble palace built with her husband's stolen genius. She showed Kevin photos of Thomas. Young engineer with bright eyes. Brilliant mind full of innovations. Ideas that could have changed world. Dreams that got stolen by colleague. Colleague she trusted. Colleague who destroyed her family's future. Kevin saw himself in those photos. Saw what he could become if someone stole his work. Saw his children's future if criminals were allowed to prosper. Saw why justice exists. Why prosecutors take oaths. Why truth matters more than comfort. The decision crystallized slowly. Not dramatic moment. Not sudden revelation. Just gradual understanding that some things matter more than family peace. That some crimes can't be ignored. That some truths demand action regardless of cost. Donald made one final attempt. Visit to Kevin's office. Father-to-son conversation. Last chance to choose family over justice. To choose comfort over truth. To choose silence over consequences. He brought photos this time. Kevin's children at Christmas. Playing under tree surrounded by gifts bought with stolen money. Living in house funded by other families' destroyed dreams. Benefiting from grandfather's crimes. Donald asked simple question. What matters more? Justice for dead engineer? Or security for living grandchildren? Abstract principle? Or family survival? Professional duty? Or personal loyalty? Kevin's answer came quietly, firmly, with weight of understanding what it would cost, what it would destroy, what it could never repair. He chose justice, chose truth, chose professional obligation over family comfort, chose future over past, chose right over easy. The words hang in institutional air between us. Mother and son, victim and prosecutor, past and future, truth acknowledged, justice chosen, family sacrificed for principle. I reach across hospital bed rails, touch his hand with fingers that know secrets, that carried evidence, that passed truth from generation to generation, from victim to prosecutor, from past to future. His hand is warm, strong, steady despite weight he carries, despite choice he's made, despite family he's about to destroy. The hand of someone who seeks justice, who protects truth, who pays prices others won't pay. We sit in silence, mother and son, understanding passing between us without words. Recognition of what's coming, what can't be stopped, what will cost everything we've built, everything we've been, everything we've pretended to believe. Truth has momentum now, evidence has gravity, justice has chosen its course. And families caught in its path learn the weight of consequences, the price of honesty, the cost of doing right. Outside, autumn leaves fall like promises, like prayers, like hope that something grows from ground cleared by truth, that justice plants seeds, that families destroyed by lies might rebuild on honest foundation. But first, everything burns. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The accidents begin small. Kevin's car tires slashed in courthouse parking lot. Security cameras mysteriously broken that day. No witnesses, no suspects. Just random vandalism in safe neighborhood where prosecutors park their vehicles. I hear about it from Lisa. Her worried voice during Wednesday visits. Her concern for brother who's having such bad luck lately. Such strange coincidences. Such unfortunate events that make no sense. She doesn't connect the dots. Doesn't see patterns. Doesn't understand that successful thieves have connections. Have resources. Have ways of applying pressure without leaving fingerprints. Without creating evidence, without getting caught. But I know, I understand, I recognize the language of threat, the vocabulary of intimidation, the grammar of fear that successful criminals use to protect their empires. Their comfortable lies, their stolen dreams. Kevin's office break-in happens on Tuesday night. Nothing stolen, just files disturbed. Papers scattered, computer accessed, message delivered without words, warning given without signature, threat made without evidence. The investigation slows, files disappear from archives, computer records vanish, witnesses become unavailable, evidence evaporates like morning mist, like fog that hides truth, like clouds that cover inconvenient facts. But Kevin persists, stubborn like his mother, determined like family trait, refusing to abandon justice just because it's dangerous. just because it costs comfort, just because it destroys everything familiar. He digs deeper, works harder, follows trails that lead to uncomfortable places, to medical records, to psychiatric evaluations, to diagnoses that don't match symptoms, to treatments that aren't treatments, to hospitals that hide truth behind white coats. 3 weeks after accepting truth, Kevin discovers my medical files. Real records hidden behind fake diagnoses. Actual test results showing normal cognitive function, perfect memory, clear thinking, mental health that doesn't match official illness. He finds Dr. Morrison's real accounts. Payments from shell companies, money traced back to Donald's business empire, bribes disguised as consulting fees, corruption wrapped in medical terminology, truth buried under professional respectability. The pharmaceutical records tell another story. Not medications for dementia, sedatives and anticholinergic agents, drugs that cloud rather than heal, chemicals meant to quiet minds, to slow thoughts, to turn clarity into fog. The formal test scores show normal function, but charted results don't match. Numbers altered after the fact. The MAR shows escalating sedative dosing inconsistent with my stable vitals and normal cognitive scores. Diagnosis predetermined. Treatment designed for control rather than care. Truth buried under professional lies. Kevin's voice shakes when he tells me what he's found. How thoroughly I've been betrayed. How completely my mind has been hijacked. How professionally my credibility has been destroyed. How medically my truth has been buried. But knowing brings danger. Evidence attracts attention. Investigation triggers response. Truth threatens empire built on lies. Justice endangers comfortable arrangements. Right thinking becomes dangerous thinking. The pressure escalates. Kevin's children followed to school. His wife questioned by strangers. His mortgage reviewed by helpful bank officials. His career evaluated by concerned supervisors. His life examined for vulnerabilities, for pressure points, for ways to apply force. He documents each incident, loops in courthouse security and the state AG's investigators, and keeps working. Donald doesn't make direct threats. Successful criminals rarely do. Instead, circumstances develop. Situations arise. Problems appear that might disappear if certain investigations stopped. If certain truths stayed buried. If certain sons remembered family loyalty. But Kevin remembers other things too. Prosecutor's oath. Victims' rights. Justice for Thomas Brennan. Truth for his mother. Right action regardless of cost. Duty that transcends family comfort. Obligation that survives threat. He comes to see me on Thursday evening. After visiting hours. After medications should have rendered me docile. After institutional routine should have settled into predictable patterns. After truth should have been safely buried. Kevin moves carefully, quietly, like man on dangerous mission. Like son saving mother. Like prosecutor gathering evidence. Like person who understands the stakes. Who accepts the risks. Who pays prices others won't pay. He brings paperwork, legal documents, medical authorizations, forms that release confused patients to family care, to concerned relatives, to people who promise appropriate supervision, appropriate treatment, appropriate love. The night nurse is Patricia. Young, tired, distracted by personal problems that make institutional problems seem manageable. She checks boxes without checking, signs forms without reading, follows procedures without thinking. Kevin's voice carries authority when he explains family decision. Mother needs home care, familiar surroundings, personal attention that institutions can't provide, love that money can't buy, family commitment that survives medical challenges. Patricia nods sympathetically. Family decisions are hard, but families know best. Love matters more than medical protocols. Home care works better for confused elderly patients. For people whose minds need familiar comfort. For mothers who need sons. I dress in clothes that aren't institutional gowns. Regular fabric that doesn't announce illness. Colors that aren't medical white. Clothing that belongs to person rather than patient. To mother rather than diagnosis. To human rather than case number. The hallway feels different when I walk as family member rather than patient. As person leaving rather than person trapped. As mother going home rather than confused elderly woman under supervision. Freedom changes everything. Even corridors look different. Kevin's car waits in visitor parking. Engine running. Heat warming seats that will hold passenger rather than patient. Mother rather than burden. Person rather than problem. Family member rather than medical case. The drive passes in silence. Streets look different from passenger seat than from institutional window. World feels larger when you're part of it rather than separated from it. Life expands when barriers disappear. When truth has room to breathe. Home looks smaller than memory suggested. Ordinary house in normal neighborhood. Place where families live regular lives. Where mothers aren't patients. Where truth doesn't hide in medical files. Where love means protection rather than control. Kevin's wife makes coffee. Sets table with good china. Treats me like honored guest rather than confused relative. Like grandmother rather than burden. Like person whose thoughts matter. Whose words deserve attention. Whose truth needs hearing. The grandchildren gather around kitchen table. Faces I recognize from photos but haven't touched in months. Hands that feel warm and real and alive. Voices that don't speak slowly or use simple words. Eyes that see person rather than patient. Kevin spreads documents across dining room table. Evidence collected over weeks of investigation. Proof of crimes. Proof of corruption. Proof of lies that destroyed family. That stole dreams. That traded truth for comfort. That chose empire over integrity. The family meeting happens here. In honest house rather than marble palace. Around kitchen table rather than crystal chandelier. With truth rather than comfortable lies. With evidence rather than denial. With courage rather than cowardice. Kevin presents the case like prosecutor he is. Methodically. Thoroughly. With evidence that can't be dismissed. With facts that can't be ignored. With truth that demands action. Demands justice. Demands consequences for crimes committed in family name. Lisa listens in stunned silence. Her world reshaping with each revelation. Each document. Each proof that father she admired is thief she never knew. That success she celebrated was built on stolen dreams. That comfort she enjoyed was bought with someone else's pain. The grandchildren hear their inheritance described differently. Not as reward for hard work. Not as gift from loving grandfather. But as proceeds from crime. Blood money from stolen patents. Profit from destroyed family. Legacy built on lies. Truth fills the room like floodwater. Like tide that rises without permission. Like force that changes everything it touches. There's no going back, no pretending, no comfortable denial, no safe ignorance. Kevin announces his decision. The evidence will go to the state attorney general's office. A special prosecutor will handle the case. Kevin must recuse himself due to conflict of interest. He will serve only as witness, as keeper of evidence chain, as son who chose duty over blood. By late summer, grand jury subpoenas demand bank records. Forensic imaging preserves computer files. FOIA requests unlock agency files, while subpoenas pry open Hartwell's corporate archives. The machinery of justice grinds forward. Slowly, methodically, without family considerations. The family fragments in that moment. Like glass hitting concrete. Like dreams shattering against reality. Like comfortable lies exploding under pressure of truth. Some things can't be repaired. Can't be undone. Can't be pretended away. I sit at that kitchen table holding my grandson's hands. Watching family destroy itself for sake of truth. For justice. For right action that costs everything. For principles that demand sacrifice. The pain is real. Sharp. Immediate. Truth cuts deep when it finally speaks. Justice burns when it finally acts. Right choices hurt when they finally get made. But truth also liberates. Justice also heals. Right choices also build. Something honest grows from GR. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. After months of pretrial motions and discovery, the trial begins on a cold Tuesday in the following February. Snow covers the courthouse steps. Ice makes walking dangerous. Winter strips trees bare of comfort, of pretense, of anything soft. I sit in the front row, right side where victims' families belong. Strange to think I'm victim's family now. Wife of the accused, mother of the witness, woman whose truth destroyed everything familiar. Donald Matthews sits at defendant's table wearing expensive suit. Gray hair perfectly styled. Face showing dignified confusion. Performance of innocent man wrongly accused. By ungrateful family. By confused wife. By ambitious son. The special prosecutor presents evidence methodically. Each patent filing. Each stolen blueprint. Each document that traces theft from brilliant engineer to successful businessman. An archived email identifies C3014 as Hartwell's internal code for Brennan's prototype microcontroller board, with a clause promising a 30% royalty later routed, the ledgers show, to a Matthews-controlled shell. Kevin sits behind counsel table as witness to chain of custody. As keeper of evidence. As son who chose justice over blood. The jury listens carefully. 12 people who never met Thomas Brennan. Never knew his widow. Never benefited from his stolen genius. Never lived in house built with other people's dreams. People who can judge clearly. Without family complications. Evidence speaks louder than emotion. Documents don't lie like people do. Dates don't change like stories do. Facts don't bend like family loyalty does. Truth stands solid when everything else crumbles. Thomas Brennan's widow testifies. Elderly woman with gentle voice. Clear memory. Intact dignity despite decades of struggle. She tells jury about husband's brilliance. About innovation stolen. About family destroyed by trusted colleague. Her words carry weight that money can't buy. Credibility that empire can't purchase. Honesty that success can't corrupt. Truth that survives decades of burial. Justice delayed but not denied. Donald's defense attorney tries family sympathy. Devoted husband. Loving father. Successful businessman who built empire through hard work. Man whose confused wife and ambitious son destroy reputation with false accusations. But evidence overwhelms emotion. Facts defeat family stories. Truth survives attempted character assassination. Justice weighs heavier than loyalty. Right matters more than comfort. The verdict comes after 3 days of deliberation. Guilty on all counts. Patent theft, corporate fraud, conspiracy to commit crimes, decades of stealing brilliant man's innovations, of profiting from other families' destroyed dreams. Sentencing follows 2 weeks later. Federal prison, asset forfeiture, restitution to victim's family. Justice served cold but complete. Truth finally acknowledged. Crime finally punished. The marble house gets seized by government. Title traced to shell entity funded directly by stolen proceeds. No innocent spouse claim can survive such clear evidence. Granite countertops, crystal chandelier, silk curtains. All the beautiful things bought with stolen money disappear into government custody. I watch movers carry furniture from rooms where family lived lies. Where children played games funded by theft. Where grandchildren learned values from criminal grandfather. Where comfort was more important than honesty. Kevin helps me pack personal items. Photo albums, family Bible, grandmother's jewelry, things that belonged to me before marriage, before wealth, before lies became lifestyle, before truth demanded terrible price. We don't speak much during packing. Words feel dangerous now. Conversation leads to blame, to regret, to questions about choices made. About truth revealed, about family destroyed for principle, for justice, for right action that costs everything. Lisa hasn't spoken to me since trial ended. Her phone calls stopped, her visits ceased, her children don't know grandmother anymore. But sometimes I see her drive slowly past Kevin's house. Never stopping, never waving, just looking. Just remembering, just carrying her own burden of broken family. Yesterday I found an old photograph on the front porch. Family Christmas from years ago. All of us smiling under stolen chandelier. Lisa must have left it. A message without words, memory without forgiveness, love without resolution. I understand her anger, her sense of betrayal, her loss of security. Her children's confusion about grandfather they loved. About inheritance they won't receive. About family history rewritten by grandmother's accusations. By brother's prosecution. By truth nobody wanted. Kevin offers his spare bedroom. Small room in modest house. Place where destroyed mothers can live final years. Where truth-tellers can find shelter. Where people who chose justice over comfort can wait for death with clear conscience. But clarity costs warmth. Truth costs love. Justice costs family. Right choices exact prices that seem too high. Even when they're necessary. Even when they're correct. Even when they're only honest options. I lie awake in unfamiliar bed. In house that isn't marble palace. In room without crystal chandelier. In life without comfortable lies. Without stolen luxury. Without family that forgives truth-telling. Snow falls outside window. Each flake different but all cold. All temporary. All melting when spring comes. Like family comfort. Like beautiful lies. Like stolen dreams that can't survive exposure to truth. To justice. To right action. Thomas Brennan's widow sends thank you letter. Handwritten note on simple paper. Gratitude for justice finally received. For husband's memory finally honored. For truth finally acknowledged. For family finally vindicated. Her words comfort more than daughter's silence. More than lost luxury. More than destroyed family. Sometimes strangers' gratitude weighs heavier than relatives' anger. Sometimes justice feels better than comfort. Sometimes truth satisfies more than lies. But late at night, doubt creeps in. Questions without answers. Regrets without resolution. Wondering if silence would have been kinder. If family peace was worth more than strangers' justice. If love should trump truth. If comfort should defeat principle. Kevin visits Sunday afternoons. Brings groceries. Checks on mother who destroyed family for justice. Who chose truth over comfort? Who paid prices he demanded? Who carries guilt he created? Who lives with consequences they both chose? His face looks older now. Lines deeper around prosecutor's eyes. Gray spreading through hair that was brown before truth demanded terrible prices. Before family chose justice over love. Before right action destroyed everything familiar. We don't discuss regret. Don't question choices made. Don't wonder about paths not taken. Truth doesn't allow second guessing. Justice doesn't permit doubt. Right action stands regardless of cost. Regardless of pain. Regardless of family destroyed. But pain is real. Loss is complete. Isolation is total. Truth may set people free, but freedom can feel like exile. Justice may prevail, but victory can taste like ashes. Right choices may be necessary, but necessity doesn't feel like triumph. Spring comes eventually. Snow melts. Trees grow buds. Life continues its ancient patterns of death and renewal. Of destruction and growth. Of winter ending and warmth returning. Of hope surviving even devastating truth. I tend small garden behind Kevin's house. Vegetables instead of roses. Practical plants that feed rather than decorate. Beauty that serves purpose rather than displaying wealth. Growth that comes from honest soil rather than stolen foundation. My hands remember this work. From years before marble palace. Before crystal chandelier. Before wealth made simple pleasures seem insufficient. Before success required forgetting where it came from. Before lies became necessary for comfort. The garden grows slowly, honestly. Without shortcuts or stolen innovations. Without criminal foundation or fraudulent success. Just seeds and soil and time and patience. Just truth working through natural process. Thomas Brennan would have understood gardens. Would have appreciated honest growth. Would have recognized value in simple things done right. In patient work. In natural process. In truth that takes time but lasts forever. I don't know if I made right choice. Don't know if truth was worth family destruction. Don't know if justice justifies terrible prices paid. Don't know if strangers' vindication balances daughters' silence. Sons' burden. Grandchildren's loss. But I know the secrets poison everything they touch. Lies corrupt everything they build. Theft destroys more than it creates. Truth, however painful, cleans better than comfort. Justice, however costly, builds better than empire. Some days I believe this. Some days doubt overwhelms certainty. Some days silence seems kinder than truth. Family peace more valuable than strangers' justice. Love more important than principle. But most days, I tend my garden. Plant honest seeds. Water with clear conscience. Harvest food that feeds without stealing. That grows without lying. That nourishes without poisoning. That satisfies without destroying. And most days, that has to be enough. At sentencing, the judge speaks of covenants broken. Of trust betrayed. Of arcs that sailed toward deception rather than salvation. The covenant, at last, made public. The ark has sailed this time not toward escape, but toward reckoning. Truth costs everything. But sometimes everything is the right price to pay.